This could be our Tower of Babel moment, and I don't think there's any turning back. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh, and you guys, this is an insane story. This report coming out, it just blows my mind of what scientists are doing. I mean, we know scientists have done crazy things in the past, but this could be a tipping point, honestly. This could be the point of no return, if you will, because scientists are trying to dim the sun. Why? They think that the world is gonna blow up soon. They're worried about global warming. I mean, never mind the ethical or the scientific or the environmental problems we could be seeing with this. I believe there's a biblical repercussion, a judgment that could come upon us if scientists go through with this. And why do I say that? Why do I say this is our Tower of Babel moment? I'll get to that in a minute, but let's look at this article and see what's actually happening. $66 million experiment to dim the sun to combat global warming gets okay, but critics have called it barking mad. Indeed, it is barking mad. Sounds like a bright idea, more like a dark idea, really, if you think about it. Scientists have received approval to soon test whether dimming the light from the sun will combat global warming, a strategy some critics have recently described as barking mad. Geoengineers allocated over $66 million to inject aerosolized particles into the stratosphere to reflect the vital light the sun provides to the earth in a bid to hedge global warming. I mean, there's so many problems with this. It's absolutely insane. The experiment will send high-flying planes to release sulfate particles into the stratosphere near the lower atmosphere, which would then prevent some of the rays from reaching the ground by reflecting them toward space. This is absolutely crazy. I mean, to think about all of the unknowns, what we don't know. The earth is so interconnected. We're sitting on like a metaphorical scale, tipped any other way, and anything can happen. You even hear about the fine-tuning of the earth, the fine-tuning of the atmosphere, the fine-tuning of the universe. Everything's on a tightly thin scale, and you do one thing to mess it up. Who knows where this could go? Proponents of the project suggest that the controversial process could be a cheap way to cool the planet to combat the threat of global warming. Cheap way? Well, depends what you mean by cheap. I mean, it's $66 million just to do this test. Can you imagine they wanted to institute this across the entire world? And who's to stop this from other countries getting a hold of this technology, doing it themselves? Then we have a literal snowball effect. And when I mean snowball, I don't mean metaphorical. Literally, we could freeze the earth. Small-scale indoor testing could begin within weeks, within the plan's architects claiming that the controversial measures are necessary to avoid a potential tipping point catastrophe in the future. Literally, by trying to prevent a tipping point, they're going to create one. The uncomfortable truth is that our current warming trajectory makes a number of such tipping points distinctly possible over the next centuries. Having spoken to hundreds of researchers, we reached the conclusion that a critical missing part of our understanding was real-world physical data. These would show us whether any of these potential approaches would actually work and what their effects might be. They don't know what they're getting themselves into. I don't care how many tests you do. Like, honestly, I mean, if you think about it, nothing may happen from this test. But if they keep inching along, right, where does this lead? They keep instituting it on a broader scale. What happens? Chain reaction. Anything can happen. But that's just the environmental concerns we're talking about. I haven't even gotten to the biblical concerns. Advocates, including this guy, even allege farms could be aided by less light as crops would suffer less from heat stress. This, my friends, is an important fact, is an important reason, what I'm getting to later. Crops living longer, people living longer. Stay tuned. This is good. This is really good. Well, here's what they're saying is happening. Cute little photo/image to make us all feel good about it. Okay. Other geoengineering methods that will be considered on the project's banner include marine cloud brightening, which would spray sea salt in the atmosphere to make clouds whiter and reflect more solar radiation. Another strategy, breaking up thin cirrus. I mean, they're literally playing. This is their playground, right? They're going up in the sky and they're just messing with it. They're messing with God's creation. And I'm telling you, I do not believe that God is happy with this. I don't. I really don't. However, many critics have expressed concerns over the ambitious attempt at weather control. Yes, claiming that dimming the sun will have unforeseen repercussions in weather patterns and food production. Yes, we could be bringing on our own judgment. Literally, even if God doesn't step in, we could be bringing this on ourselves. One pointed critique offered by environmental scientists called it barking mad and likened the plan to treating cancer with aspirin. Good point. The ARIA engineering program is a dangerous distraction from the work that needs to be done to achieve net zero carbon emissions. Yeah. I mean, if you really believe that the earth is warming because of man, why don't you fix the problem instead of treating the symptom, right? I mean, you can't just keep covering up with a Band-Aid and living the way we are if that's what's really causing it. I mean, this is obvious with anyone. I mean, if you're trying to lose weight, you need to change your lifestyle. You need to change your eating habits. You need to work on yourself, okay? You can't just take a pill. Yes, you can. You can take a pill these days. You can take a shot. But really, you're not making yourself any healthier. Could be a normal weight, but you could still drop dead because on the inside, you're just corrupted and eroded. So anyway, that concludes it. So now what did I mean by our Tower of Babel moment? Well, if you recall, post-flood, God commanded humanity to go and fill the earth. What did mankind do? They did the opposite. They built a city and they built a tower into the heavens to defy what God ordered them to do. Well, when you defy God, he responds. And what did he do? He confused the languages and the people were forced to spread out through the land anyways. So, back in Genesis, the creation account, for those of us who believe in a literal interpretation, meaning that God created the earth in 6 days, he rested on the seventh, there was a global flood, it destroyed the earth, destroyed everything that was living on the earth. It wasn't a local flood, right? We believe all of this. Well, there's a theory that before God flooded the earth was covered in a canopy. It's called the canopy theory. Let's take a look. I'll show it to you and then I'll explain more. What is the canopy theory? Okay, let's take a look. The canopy theory seeks to explain the reference in Genesis 1:6 to, quote, the waters above the firmament, assuming that firmament or expanse, as the Hebrew word is alternatively translated, refers to our atmosphere. According to the canopy theory, there was a canopy of water above the atmosphere until the cataclysm of Noah's day, at which point it disappeared either by collapsing upon the earth or dissipating into space. It is presumed to have consisted of water vapor because a canopy of ice could not have happened. Okay, so scientifically, they believe it couldn't have been ice, whatever. And, with God, anything can happen, so who knows? So according to this theory, there was a canopy around the earth of water. And this goes back to, like it says, when God created the earth, he separated the waters below from the waters above, and this was the firmament. Now, why do so many people believe that there was this canopy based on this scripture? Well, there's a lot of reasons to think about it. If you look at what a water canopy would do, right? What are they trying to do now with this project? They're trying to block out the sun. Why? So the temperature would cool down. But not only that, if you think about it, it would reduce the radiation that poked through, meaning it would be a healthier environment to live in, right? Now, if you look back in the scriptures, people lived longer back in the biblical days, right? And then all of a sudden, after the flood, their lifespans got considerably lower. Now, if you also look at the fossil records, plants, animals grew larger. So you have this environment where the sun, not only the sun can't poke through, but when you enclose an environment like that, it may prevent chaotic situations like we have today with severe storms, tornadoes, hurricanes. That would not have existed in this canopy, right? It would have been an environment in which everything was controlled, right? A greenhouse effect, calm. And what's interesting, I think, is if this is true, if this is the case, the first time those waters fell to the earth and the raining subsided would be the first time that the sun actually poked through and was allowed for a rainbow to appear. And that's when God said he put his bow in the sky, because it was the first time, right? So there's a lot of reasons to believe that this canopy theory happened. Of course, scientists debunk it. They say it couldn't have happened, but they also say the resurrection couldn't have happened. And they also say that the creation of the universe by an eternal God couldn't have happened. So there's a lot of things scientists don't agree on. But if this theory is true and the canopy one day did exist and God removed it for a reason through his judgment on the world, and now the world is trying to put it back, that is our Tower of Babel moment. That is our point of no return. And I'm going to show you guys some scriptures of why I believe that, why I believe that this is dangerous territory for us. Honestly, I don't think we should be moving forward with this, but let's take a look at a few scriptures here and I'll show you what I'm saying. First up, we have Ecclesiastes 3:14. It says, I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken away from it. God does it so that the people will fear him. This is a direct hit of what I'm talking about, okay? It's saying that God's actions are permanent and that this reason is so that we would have proper reverence of him. Okay, let's go on to the next slide here. For the Lord Almighty has purposed, and who can thwart him? His hand is stretched out, and who can turn it back? Perfect example of God emphasizing that trying to reverse his acts are foolish and impossible. Job 9:12, if he snatches away, who can stop him? Who can say to him, what are you doing? Honestly, I mean, if you think about it, this just shows our helplessness before God's decisions, and the pride you must have, the hubris to go against that is just mind-boggling to me. And then finally, we have Isaiah 45:9. Woe to those who quarrel with their maker, those who are nothing but potsherds among the potsherds on the ground. Does the clay say to the potter, what are you making? Does your work say the potter has no hands? Beautiful portrayal of God's role and our role, humanity being the clay, God being the potter. And when man tries to reverse that, nothing good could come from it. So, I don't know. What do you guys think of this report? Do you think it's crazy, insane? Do you agree with it? Do you hope that they do it? Let me know in the comments. And in the meantime, take care and God bless.